Morning, November 23rd. Month went quick. Thanksgiving was pretty good. We had a visitor for Jackson. He had a blast. We got to eat some food. It's been going good. It's been a while since I did one of these, so I'm trying to keep it all in perspective and not just talk. But we're we're okay. The last couple days we haven't had internet. First it was our gateway, then they shipped us the gateway, and now they're saying it's in the lines. So they're supposed to be here today to fix that. So I haven't got a lot done, um, considering where I wanted to be right now. But today I think I'll wrap up some things. Like I said, I did pick up a new client that actually pays. They're out of Detroit, and it's not that they need my help running their company, because they do that, and they got some long term contracts, and they already done some pretty big things, so they don't need me for that. It's just more so taking it to the next level. I got something on my hat here. I don't like that. Chasing some leads. They did some festival work for me last summer for a couple events. I like them. Um, they're just different. You know what I mean? They're how they operate. There's no rush. You know what I mean? Everything is calculated, and it's these guys. I think they're going to do some really great things. I'm not sure what venue or what avenue they want to take. Because they right now they seem to do across the board of things. But I'd kind of like to see them and maybe lacking some disciplines and push it that direction. But I am chasing some leads here in Michigan, and then we got a couple little hooks set for Mississippi and Tennessee. I think are going to break pretty soon. I've been flirting with the Mississippi thing for a couple years. If you remember, I did a little bit for GR, which was one of the companies I used to consult for a few years ago. And even though it originally ended on bad terms, we have talked since then, and they've actually done an event for me not too long ago that I couldn't get to. So, you can't hold grudges in this business, regardless if you're the reason for the grudge or not. Some people, I don't know. I don't want every video be video talking how someone screwed me over, because then you might get the bad idea of the community. Not everybody is that way. Unfortunately, there is some snake oil salesmen, out there, but I think they're going to do good. It's part time right now. It's not a lot of money, but it's money. So moving forward, we're like I said, I'm trying to get the cable done today, and then I can finish some things for my clients here. I'm still owed some money, so I fell behind on some things, but we're still in the fight. I can't, they're not, my car is still being down. It's, I don't have a lot of choice but to be patient at this time and try to do what I can, from here, at least try to make some money. I know I say a lot. When I was on the radio station a few years back, that was my problem too. So I used to have to sit 3 or 4 hours before the show and not say and that was another one I say a lot too, and. But anyway, see, did a couple shows at Harpo's, Puddle of Mud, Cradle of Filth, I think was the first one. Shows went great. I was able to bring these guys in to have a little bit of in it. These clients. There's again. Damn. I'm not gonna restart it. So it's already 5 minutes. Brien Stetson, I want to talk about. He was one of Spartan's first employees, and unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, he passed in an auto accident or complications from an auto accident. Brien was a great guy. Again, we met, I think 16 or 17. He worked one of the cannabis cups. I think he works all the cannabis cups for us. But he started out in the parking lot, and I didn't know he was like 9 days off, a major surgery. I didn't know. I didn't know until the end of the event. But he started out in the parking lot, and if you ever work at, a festival and or any kind of venue when you're on a traveling team or if you're a contractor, they have your equivalent at the venue, and for some reason or another, a lot of those people, they don't get along with contractors. Even though that I made it a point, working those, you guys are the same thing. Different responsibilities, but there's no reason why people should fight. But sometimes you get in these venues, and you get these, they're security people that, they're just gonna do what they want to do, and sometimes you get the owners, these particular events that Brien started at, the owner of that venue, because it wasn't his friend's security company or whatever it was, he just made it a point to be a dick. He just did, and he caused us so much problems. But luckily the security guy for that event, I made sure to stay in constant communication with him. But I think he knew. I think there was other issues going on, but he, like I said, this owner would unlock doors and call him and say my midnight guys aren't doing this, and because he felt they should drive a vehicle, even though our client, they wanted us to patrol in a vehicle, they would have told us to patrol in a vehicle. But so you'll get these people, and so they had their parking people, and then in this event we were providing some parking people too. They just were going to do whatever it is that they wanted to do, and even though there was a plan laid out, they were just going to do it their way. And so what it did is it caused a huge tie-up, almost like a hornet's nest in the middle. Everything that Brien was doing and our guys were doing was it was flowing. It was, parking lots, it's, even if you don't find places for vehicles, it's always good to keep them flowing, keep them moving, especially if the parking lot, if you're coming off a main road and then you have the parking lot and then you have a venue, how is emergency vehicles able to get back and forth? Even though on this one we had a road that was roped off, but anyway, it just got to the point where it was just a standstill at their end, and so their problem became our problem, because then they had vehicles that were lined up on this major road that's 55, 60 miles an hour, 4 or 5 miles down past the venue on either direction. So I sent Brien over there with a couple guys and they were locals that we hired, and within 25 minutes, Brien had that issue solved, and had the parking lot. Really our first day was really the only problem, because after that everyone seemed to follow what we were doing. We had another issue. There was a back road on the other side of the venue. Let me hold on a second. Production guys too. There's gonna be another video about that. There's just something about festival production guys that there's always going to be conflict. There's just always going to be. And at this event, there was a production guy that we ended up getting along towards the end, but in the beginning, he was real an asshole, because where we were told to park our people and our personnel, we were all camped in a location. This guy was trying to change it. He was probably like a mid-level promotion guy or something, but he was trying to change it, to fit his needs. And, it's not that we weren't willing to do that. It was just, moving the stuff back and forth 20 times isn't going to help, especially when we're supposed to be working. It's hard for me to pull 50 or 60 guys off so they can move their car. That's a mile or mile and a half away from where they're supposed to be. And this was a venue where we couldn't have a cart. So even though we had the insurance for it and we had the carts, we just, they just didn't want us to have one. And so all that had to be walked. It would be okay if you could walk a straight line, but since the event was going around, you had to actually go all the way through into the pits, because this was at a racetrack. Walk all the way through and then walk all the way back over, and it just became a problem. But on this road, we had a guy that was set up there, and what he was supposed to be doing was vehicles or passes, wristbands, whatever, they would have a certain color. If they didn't have that color, they weren't supposed to be there, or they couldn't go back there. Now, granted, the people this guy was letting back there were track people, and everybody knew who they were. This mid-card production guy would make a point to get on the radio and say, why are these people back here with bands, even though they know they're from the track and they're back there getting hamburgers, for their concession stands, or they're back there getting pop for their concession stands. Just had to make a point. Now, on the top of these festival things is a person that, and they're all the same. It's a person it's probably a really good person, and they're really, really good at multitasking. Obviously that's why they're in this position. But during events, whoever that person may be, Mother Teresa or whatever, they're going to be evil. You know what I mean? And what I mean by evil is that, they want it to run in their mind. Everyone has what they're supposed to be doing, and it needs to be done regardless. Show must go on. It needs to be done. The problem needs to be solved, or should never be a problem. So when he's on the radio hollering, and then she starts hollering, and so after about a day of this, I talked to one of my managers, a guy named Spencer, and like, look, we need to put somebody else here. It's someone that, that's not afraid to stand their ground, knowing that even though what they're doing is right, it's going to cause conflict. I worked here for 10 years. How dare you? I can't go back there. Or I'm the owner. How dare I can't go back there? And not a lot of people are willing to be that person. So we pulled Brien and let him know and say, hey, you know what? And this is when I first started noticing, like, dang, he's wearing a back brace. What's going on here? Are you sure he's physically able to do this? And obviously he had a chair, but within 10 minutes putting him there, we get a call from the head lady that's running the festival, that they're getting complaints from the owner of the venue that their people can't get back there to get pop or beer from the stage, or a person stopping them. And I was just like, well, yeah, it is, but we're stopping them because they don't have the right credentials. And being these are the people that production back there by the stage was calling about, we're not going to let them back there, regardless on who they are. And Brien stood his ground. He was so good at it, and they liked him so much. I'm talking about, I worked a lot of these festivals. The head people, they probably didn't like me too much, but I'm not. It doesn't bother me. I'm not doing that. I don't get me wrong. I want to be friends with people, but that's not my. That's not what I'm doing there. I'm there to work, and you got to stay focused. But anyway, they ended up loving them. And so every event that we did for these people, they wanted Brien there. That was his spot, and they made a point. They made it a point to make sure that he was comfortable. That he had drinks and he had food and he had snacks. It was amazing. It was amazing. After that, Brien did work the Willow Ranch for us. the last couple times that we were there, and then I think he did a couple days at Harpo's. He, I like Brien. It's too bad. He's gonna be missed. You do this long enough, you run into. Maybe that's why I don't go out of my way to become friends with people, because it's like, I don't know, more the potential for you to lose. Because I still think about, Adam passed away the second year when we started doing these events, or in between the first and second year, and then Brien, and I talked to Brien in October. He was living in New York these last couple of years, but I knew he was coming to Michigan, October or November, so we needed some spots filled at a venue, and he was still in New York, so I think that's going to be it. I was in the shower and I had a plan on what I was going to talk about and what I was going to do, and it sounded awesome, but here it is, 16 minutes, and I don't know. Oh, the other thing is, I know what it is. These 3 or 4 huge events we did were cannabis related. And a lot of and that was another one of the little issues that we dealt with, because all these people are big fish in their own ponds, But when they come to a venue like this, now a lot of them aren't able to adjust to being a medium-sized fish in a big pond instead of a big fish in a small pond. But Brien, like I said, Brien, actually we did real good. I know I'm starting to stutter a little bit, but anyway, I'm going to end it right there. Have a great day. I got to wait for the internet to come on. We'll talk later.